You're listening to The A Show, and we're still the heads of the table. Welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. I am Justin, here with Meals. It's we're recording this on a real interesting day, huh?
I think I mean, it's election day while we're recording this, so we don't actually know who wins yet. But it could be anybody at this point. Maybe we shouldn't even bring it up.
No, I mean, it's a moment in time. I think, last week we were like, oh, it's a week away. And then today it was like, it's today. I think we even had a conversation off mic, like, should we like wait to record? And I was just like, nah, it's going to be what it's going to be. I think like, it's best to say, or what's best to say is that, the power is in our hands in a lot of ways. And, we're hoping that coming on the other side of this after recording that, that we actually did make a change and people decided that they were fed up with what's going on and that they want a change and that they want to get out of these circumstances that we're in right now. I mean, you see what's going on right now. We all see what's going on right now. So, let's get to it.
I want to say, considering how great of a streak I've had as Meals Thomas thus far, I think I've had an amazing streak. I want to say, on the other side of this thing, considering we're taping this before the election results are out, it might be a dusty finish. Trump, the man might say, like, listen, I don't know about these votes, man. I don't know about any of this anymore. Remember that dusty finish from 2000?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Didn't know who was the president for, like, quite some time. I'm going to say, you know what? We end up on the right side of this. I'm going to call it. We end up on the right side of this if we know what the right side means.
Yeah, You're going to be listening to this. Most people will be listening to this around 5 a.m., 8 a.m., depending on what coast you're on. We're calling it right now.
5 a.m. Oh, my God.
Some people do. Some people listen to this as soon as it hits their app, which is at 5 a.m.
I can't listen to this at 5 a.m. unless have not been asleep. Wow.
Well, most people, had there been different circumstances, would probably be listening to this on the morning commute. On their night shift, on their way home, on the subway, there might be still people that do that, and for that, we're very thankful for everything you have, everything you do, and respect to you, getting out there and making that money. But I gotta say, like I know people are worried. I know the polling looks really positive, but I know people are also worried, and far be it from me or Meals to dissuade how you feel or make you not feel well. But I mean, I have to say I'm really optimistic about the people that have shown up for early voting and mail-in voting and drop-off voting. Shattering records all over the world. This is literally what we did this for, and this is literally what the people who fought for us to do this decades ago, fought for us to do. And I got to send a shout out to people that I've been on their ass for years about voting who decided to do it this year because, once again, it is time for a change and they want to see it.
Absolutely. I feel like we should transition into wrestling talk. I don't want to get too political on this. I don't want to get too geopolitical on this thing. I want to get, I want to continue to be the escape just in case people need it. I want to continue to be that. So, you know what? I feel like we should get into the wrestling type of thing. First of all, it's Survivor Series season, which always makes me kind of want to revisit a bunch of Survivor Series matches. And I just don't know what to...
The past 2 or 3 Survivor Series have been very good shows. There is nothing other than one match that makes me believe that this won't be a very good show, but I think the build to this show is not good, and we'll talk about that as we go down to the shows a little bit later. But I mean, it's just a weird set of circumstances. Like even the past week, I mean, we had a really great Halloween Havoc show on NXT last week. I thought it was
huge,
fantastic show.
That was I shit you not. that show was one of the best wrestling shows I've ever seen in life, period. I can
Wow.
say legitimately from 8 p.m., I'm putting it up there, and I know people are going to be like, whoa, hot take. I'm legitimately putting it up there with like, granted, it doesn't have like a 5-star match, but I'm putting it up there. I'll put it in the tier lower. I'll put it in one tier lower than the WrestleMania 17s and 19s and all this other stuff like that. That's how good I feel like that show was, because it kind of represented everything about NXT. It made me look at NXT different because, quite frankly, you and I have different perspectives on NXT. I thought it was getting a little bit like, I won't say stale. Yeah, I think it was getting a little bit stale, but I think all wrestling TV at this point is getting a little bit stale. I
Yeah.
thought it was getting a little bit stale, and they weren't really trying anything different. And I hate that it takes for them to get competition. Wow, there's a huge thing behind me. I hate that there's things that, it takes competition to get to this standpoint, but it does. And they knocked it out the park. I'll say it. They deserve whatever victory that they got last week, because that show was fucking incredible.
Yeah, but even with like the weirdness of that, like we're not getting a NXT and Survivor Series this year, and that to me is kind of like a big indicator. Like, hey, safety is a big concern. Safety is a huge concern this time around, and again, it definitely is a cause for just to look at the wrestling landscape right now and say, yo, like a lot of shit is different. So if Survivor Series ends up not being the same or not feeling the same, and I think they're trying to make it feel important with The Undertaker coming, right? Like it's going to be that's like a huge selling point for this show this year.
Yeah, I mean, is he coming? It's just kind of like, oh, it's WrestleMania. It's like Undertaker, like it's a vibe,
Yeah.
Like it's not. It doesn't. They haven't announced that he's showing up. They just kind of be like, okay, he's it's Undertaker season, and they're using the old. I'm not gonna say the old Undertaker, but I assume to this point we were going back to the motorcycle one, because he's, quite frankly, I think if he rolls his eyes one too many times now, it's just gonna stay there. But I thought we were moved on from that version of the Undertaker, and we're moved on to something new. I mean, I don't know. It would have been nice to also have Undertaker versus AJ rematch. I thought that would have been good if they decided to go that route. I thought that would have been something great too. But
it seemed like it seemed like they were gonna go to that, and then they kind of dropped it. Because remember in the TLC match, he saw the poster of the Undertaker, and then he even mentioned the Undertaker again after he started retiring, or that retiring gimmick started rolling along. But they never went back to it. I think I know that, Taker went out on his own terms, but damn, it would have been cool to see like that actual match happen in the arena that night.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what are you gonna do?
So let's get into No Holds Barred for the week. The first point of news this week is Battle of Super Juniors 2020 participants have been announced, and I mean, I'll just get right to it. ACH, Chris Bay, Leo Rush among the top people who were added to this year. What do you feel about this, Meals? It'll be Leo Rush's first time working New Japan.
Word? I don't know what I feel about it, quite honest with you. Like, I'm just, good for him. Good for him. Didn't he retire?
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I heard he retired.
I thought he retired. I thought it was a whole thing. He's going to be on the challenge either later this year or in 2021. So that's where I'll be watching him, as a retired thing. But, and then, give it a little spoiler because the spoilers for the challenge came out. I'm not going to say where you can find it. You can find it. It's like, you didn't do that well.
Oh, he didn't?
But no, he didn't do that well.
Okay, hold on. If you don't want to hear the Leo Rush,
I'm not going to.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Oh, you want to hear it?
Yeah, like if you don't, I mean, people can. I'll just tell people, if you don't want to hear the Leo Rush,
30 seconds. Skip 30 seconds.
Skip forward 30 seconds.
Okay, so essentially what happens on the show is that he quits the game.
What?
At some point. He quits. It's unknown why he quit, but he did quit. And he doesn't actually, according to spoilers, he doesn't actually get eliminated by anybody, but he quits the show, which is the most Leo Rush thing that I probably heard about it, and didn't surprise me one bit.
Does he? Is it for the culture?
Don't know yet.
So when will we? Okay. Okay.
We'll be. I feel like we'll be able to see this at the beginning of next year.
So he did all of it. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, spoiler over. Spoiler over. He's going to be in the Battle of Super Juniors. That's happening in America this year. Really unprecedented as far as just like how they've been able to pull this off. But I got to say, I'm super excited for it. I'm hoping that I get to see a lot of cool stuff I haven't seen before. And I don't know if people have been noticing, but ACH is turning up in a lot of places. He's going to be back in MLW pretty soon. He looks to be getting back to a full schedule of wrestling again.
Look, listen, as long as he's happy, as long as he's doing what he needs to do, and as long as he seems to be in a much better place, I'm all for it. So if he's doing Battle of Super Juniors, first of all, it just looks, I'm just glad that all the, like, I guess, I don't know, the black participants, can I say that? Yeah. I mean, how many Battle of Super Juniors have been won by black people?
0. But I'll tell you this right now.
Has Ricochet won?
No. I'll tell you this right now. Probably not going to happen this year either.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, 2020, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you know what? By all means, good luck to all of them. I hope they do well. I hope they have a great time. I hope one of them wins. Probably not, though. But yeah,
I think Chris Bay will do really well. I think ACH will do well. I think ACH is probably the biggest name there, which is funny considering how tenured Leo Rush is. But I think he's the most, people are most excited about him. Let's not lie about it. ACH is still that guy. So we'll see. And like you said, I am glad that he seems to be in a better place than he was a couple of years ago. Almost 2 years ago. Kind of crazy.
Almost 2. Nah, it was last year, bro.
Was it?
That show was last year. I remember.
It was last year.
Or this year. Imagine if it was this year. Wow.
If it was this year, the A show would be over. We have to end the show. There would be no more.
Hold on. When did the ACH do the thing? Oh my God! Now I'm gonna. It was
last
forget.
September. It had to be like last September-ish. It was no. Okay. It was after. It might be a year ago because it was after NXT debuted on USA. He had disappeared for like 6 weeks. So it might be coming up on the 1 year anniversary of it right now. Wow.
All right. Listen, a year can change everything as long as you're in a better space in the entire year. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Next up on No Holds Barred, NXT UK's main event last week. I wanted to touch on this. I know it's not like a crazy news item, but Ilya Dragunov versus Walter main event match captivated everyone in the world last week. I watched the match. It took me 2 sittings to watch it. I had to actually end up and I think go record a show before actually finishing the other half of the match.
I was about to say, I was like, all the G1 matches you watch, and this took you 2 sittings to watch this match.
I had to. What? It was a late. I had to record late fees last week. That's why I didn't finish it. I finished it after I finished. I actually went back and restarted it after I watched late fees. So I watched the whole thing from the top. About twice now, and I think to me, absolutely, I gave it 5 stars. It is one of the best matches of the year, one of the most violent WWE matches I've probably ever seen or have seen in the past decade. I don't think they get this violent anymore, but I thought it was really fantastic. And if you get a chance to watch it, go out of your way to watch it. I don't know if Mills watched it. I told you to, but I don't think you did.
I did watch it. I watched it last night. I knew the show was coming. I saw the brutality of it all. I think this is just kind of the brand that you're going to get with not only just the European style or just more physical in general, but when you get to Walter as well, who's chopping the shit out of you no matter what. So I thought it was incredible. I saw a lot of high praise from it from Triple H and Jim Cornette and a couple other people. So I definitely tuned in, and it was the only thing I tuned in on the show. I just skipped right to it. WWE Network hit you with the timestamp and said, oh, match. Oh, boom. There we go. So watched it. It's 100% one of the match of the year candidates. There's a lot of great candidates this year. This is definitely, I want to say, top 10 for sure. So anyone who hasn't seen it yet and want to see people brutally beat the shit out of each other, I would suggest to go watch it.
Absolutely. And again, even in a loss, I don't think Dragunov looked bad at all. He was the one guy that was able to take more brutality than Pete Dunne, more than, if you can believe it.
Walter Walter. He pinned Walter a couple weeks ago or last week or something.
Yeah, he beat
first
him
person.
Beat him in a tag match and pinned him. And again, like one thing I did like about the match was at the end when Walter kind of looked at him like, holy shit, like this kid is tough. And I love when they do that because to me, that gets them more over than the get up handshake type stuff that they like to do, like the super like crazy acting stuff. Like there wasn't a lot of acting in this, and I thought that what Walter was able to convey through his facial expressions said a lot about Dragunov at the end of that match. And you know what? I want to see this again, and I think they're going to do it again.
I 100% think they're going to do it again. And then also, I want to give a shout out. I mean, since we're talking about the UK, got to give a shout out to Pete Dunne, who surprised the world and appeared in the United States in Yeezys and just and just you know what? I'm not mad at it. This is definitely we talked about it on the War Report anyway. I guess we could step on it.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, it's been you can definitely listen to the War Report to hear the full thing from Cyrus. But man, wow. They don't make them like that anymore. They don't make moments like that anymore. So I was very happy with it.
And the thing that was great about that moment is that I WTF'd it publicly, and then someone said, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised that he did this considering this is payback for 2 years ago for when they turned on him. And I said, you know what? That's called storytelling. And I was like, and again, it goes into what you said, Meals. A lot of things were paid off on Halloween Havoc last week on NXT TV or from NXT
I
TV.
agree.
A lot of story was paid off. A lot of respect was paid to the viewers, their intelligence and their enjoyment of wrestling. And I think that was one of the biggest moments on the show and of the year for NXT. And in a brand that has had literally within the year one of the best heel turns already with Finn Balor last year. They did it again this year, and it still gave you a shocker moment. And I thought it was really great.
Yeah, I just thought overall, and just my final thing about this show, I just think overall, the show featured a level of as good as the wrestling is, it becomes formulaic. You get all these programs and they're segmented, and it's going to be my issue with Monday Night Raw, to be honest with you. You get all these things, they're segmented. It's a formula. It's kind of all this. When they stray from the formula and try something completely out the box, and they didn't even use all their people on the show, which is insane to think about. But just to do something true to the characters of all these people, and it was just the perfect. It seemed that show felt more sports entertainment than probably any NXT show that I've seen before. Yeah, just period. And that's what they kind of need to balance in.
And again, like it goes to appreciating the intelligence of your audience. Pat McAfee, bringing up the Rich Holland thing to me was just such a small thing, but him mentioning I regret buying him that car. That went a long way into saying just how deep that storyline has gone. And this is essentially like, right. And I like it. And I know Cyrus will talk more about this, but the Undisputed Era's reckoning as faces. I think that's the great way to create a really sympathetic face tandem is saying, you know what, you guys might be good guys, but you guys fucked over a lot of people on your way to where you're at, and this is the reckoning for that. And I think that's a spectacular because I mean Birch and Oni were also people that they screwed over.
Absolutely.
Thought it was great.
Absolutely.
Thought it was great. Last week, and this is, again, our next point, and no holds barred. Last week, it was announced during a corporate investor call with Vince McMahon and all of his team that there is going to be a Netflix documentary produced by Bill Simmons on Vince McMahon's life, said to be 4 episodes in length, covering the life and times of one of the most misunderstood.
The life and times of V. McMahon. Like, is there
Volume 2?
you know what? Fair. We definitely need a non-WWE. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have their finger in some of this, but I guess a non-WWE managed production on Vince McMahon's entire life. My only issue is, will they tell the real story? Will they tell the actual story? Or will it just be, because I'll be honest with you. This seems like it's going to be the people who are behind the Andre the Giant documentary, which I wasn't a big fan of anyway. I thought it just wasn't that interesting. And I've heard every story about Andre from beneath the sun from various wrestlers up to that point anyway, so it wasn't really interesting. So if you're not really telling me anything new about Vince McMahon, then kind of like leave it on the playground. But they're going to have to go in like deep. I don't want to hear just kind of the surface level stuff and like, a trial and stuff like that. I want to hear everything from 2001 moving forward. I want to hear about how he felt when Eddie Guerrero died. I want to hear how he felt about when the whole Chris Benoit situation went down. I want to hear how he's been continuing the transition, moving in this new era. If he's ever thinking about moving out, was that sort of situation, any sort of, I don't want to say any marital problems that he's had, but any sort of family issues that have been presented. I don't want to hear just the normal Vince McMahon, business. Like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear something new. I'm judging a book by its cover in this instance. I don't think we're going to get this with people who are involved currently.
You never know. I think one thing that leads credence to the fact that we might get a little bit deeper than usual is seeing the success of things like The Last Dance, which I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people who produce documentaries are looking at right now. I'm not saying they have to go to that level, but hearing Vince McMahon talk about himself is something that we've never heard before. And I think what leads me to think that this is going to be different is the fact that he's never done this before. And, just the fact that we're getting a Vince McMahon documentary. He's
had a documentary. It was just WWE's documentary. He's had one.
That's what I mean. It is a documentary that has to look at these things and actually has to have him face the mirror and talk about himself. And I think, we're going to get some of that. Obviously, you're going to get some tampering a little bit. I mean, you know what it is, but I don't think it's going to be some
Montreal Screwjob-esque type of thing.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be as, the Victor tells the story as people think it's going to be. And I think that there's a lot of documentaries. I mean, even Tiger King that look at flawed and morally ambiguous individuals and try and let the audience decide who they are. And I think that's what they did with Tiger King. And I think that's what they did with, to a certain extent, The Last Dance. Because, I mean, you even have people going either way with that. And I think you look at that formula and that leads me to believe that they will be trying to, because they want to get as many eyes on this as possible. So you got to get the salacious stuff. You have to. And I think that because this won't be on the network, that you're going to be able to. You're going to get cussing. You're probably going to be able to get a bunch of stuff you're not going to be able to see on the network. And to me, it leads me back to my point a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the big payoff. Or you know what I'm saying? Like this is again, Vince would do this when he's trying to put his company in a position to be a powerhouse media-wise and to show off what he's done media-wise. So you got to do the good and bad. That's why I think it'll probably be talked about.
I'm very, I don't know. It's just to me. I listen to, like, for instance, even just outside of WWE stuff, I listen to Triple H or I listen to Stephanie McMahon. I'll listen to anyone do an interview, and it just kind of seems like they're very concerned on protecting the company, but also like their family and a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. And they're promoting the company, but I don't know if we'll ever get Triple H speaking very candidly about Vince McMahon ever again until maybe he's dead or like maybe he's, people moved on or something. I just want that. I don't know if we'll ever get that. I can't see it still. I personally cannot see it. I would be shocked if that would happen, but I can't see it.
All right, next up on No Holds Barred, let's get through this really quick. In order of importance, what do we want to talk about? I'll let you choose, Meals. Ronda Rousey or the Twitch stuff?
The Twitch stuff is way more important than Ronda Rousey, in my opinion. I think even Kylie Ray retiring is more important than Ronda Rousey.
How about that? The Twitch stuff or Kylie Ray? We can only talk about one.
Kylie Ray.
We can only talk about one. We can only talk about one.
We can only talk about one.
Yeah, we got to get the show going. We got to get the show going.
Twitch.
So last week, Miriam and AJ Styles took to their channels on Twitch and Mixer respectively and said they had to shut down due to company ordinances about social media and third-party support, which kind of proves what we've been not fearing, but we've been hearing for the past couple of weeks about the WWE clamping down on these things. And they said basically the same type of company spiel that we've kind of heard and that you kind of see in any type of email. Both both statements looked like they were completely copied from a notepad. But this again has had people very upset about this. And one person in particular who is still signed is Paige, who basically said, you know what, fuck that, I'm still going to stream, and has been streaming since then, meaning that the streaming wars have started in WWE.
I'll be honest with you. Give them their damn Twitch back. I'm on that side. I understand the benefits that this could have. I 100% understand the benefits that this could have. I don't think it's beneficial. I mean, we haven't seen anything yet, so let's wait until we see what stuff actually happens with it. But I really don't think that the moral sort of the hit that this takes morally on a lot of WWE superstars is worth making. I guess for WWE, it's worth making a couple $100 million, but I don't think sort of morally decapitating a lot of WWE superstars by not giving them a creative outlet to get in touch with the fans that they've want to stay in touch with is probably the smartest thing to do. I think Paige is 100% an example of that, or someone who was featured on television at one point, doesn't have really anything going on anymore. She was actually probably, if I look at like Renee Young, she's probably in the same boat as Renee Young, of someone who was doing something, show got canceled, no longer doing anything. She doesn't have any sort of on-air role. She can't wrestle in the ring. She's not cleared the ring. Twitch is kind of all that she had. And it's not necessarily that they want to take it away from her, but they want to completely control how she does these things. And she tends to do things in a certain way. And she was very unhappy, and she's very emotional about it. And while it seems very trivial on that standpoint, to be like, oh, you're so emotional about a Twitch, obviously this is something that means a lot to her personally. It means a lot to her to be able to at least connect with people and have something creatively that she can, output. Just something. She can't wrestle. She's been wrestling since she was 14. She hasn't been able to wrestle for maybe like the past 4 years. She just wants something to kind of that she can control. I think it sucks. And I think, I just, I support them keeping their Twitch, to be honest with you. It's as a creative, and I know I'm going on a big ass rant, big ass spiel right now. And, but just as a creative, you kind of need that sort of output, especially when you have I think we can all relate to have jobs, may not have the best work environment, may not have the best sort of thing, may induce a lot of stress, but to be able to kind of unwind and kind of push yourself creatively into one thing gives you a little bit of a balance and a little bit of happiness and stuff like that. And I think that's essentially what she is at this point. I'll say they'll probably reach a deal eventually. I think just based on how much noise that she's making, they'll probably end up reaching some sort of compromise at some point, or she'll leave. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think about it, just in this sort of long form.
I feel the same way I felt about it before. It sucks, but I can't compare my situation or anyone's situations to theirs. I mean, no, I don't think anyone else can see like the scrutiny behind it. I mean, I've definitely, again, like I said before, I've been in situations like that where we can't do certain things because of company ordinances, and there's certain rules that we want to break and stuff like that. And again, like there's certain types of things that are ironclad. There's just nothing you can really do about it. I mean, she doesn't seem to have been getting in any trouble for streaming still. So, I mean, there are people that will probably dissent from this and probably won't like it. But at the end of the day, we'll have to see what comes of this. I can't call if what they, again, and I think we had a conversation about this last week too, Mills. It was just like, okay, the streaming deals on Twitch work like this. Usually Twitch takes this much. If they were to do a deal with WWE, they'd probably have to pony up money for licensing. They'd probably have to give them money. So it determines how much money these wrestlers are going to get from it. So like if they find that they would be getting considerably more money through what WWE is doing than what they would get through their own subscribers, then so be it. If WWE can create a compelling argument to that, they probably won't. Then so be it. If not, I can't see this going away anytime soon. So I mean that's really just where I stand on it right now. I don't really know. There's not much you can do. There's not really much you can do.
Yeah, there's not really much. I'll be honest, to see kind of how far this actually goes. If they don't come to a compromise, I think it can go really, really far, to be honest with you. I think they see. I think the reason why it's not like, well, if you don't want to not stream, you can leave. It's because Paige is a major. Despite not being in the ring, I think she's someone who garners a lot of social media traction. She's valuable in some sort of way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far this goes.
Let's get into. I'm sorry if this offends. All right. Yes. Yet another episode. I'm sorry if this offends. Something's been bothering me, Mills.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Something's been bothering me. Did you hear the drop? Or did I hear the drop? Did you hear the drop? No?
I didn't hear the drop, but I knew what it was.
Let's do it again.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Okay. There we go.
Being interrupted.
There we go. I don't think it came through. I'm going to keep that, though. I don't care. I'm going to keep it because I want to talk about something. I want to talk about something this week. I want to talk about the EC3 paradox. You know what that is?
No, please do explain.
That is when you take a wrestler. They might be a good hand, might have been successful somewhere else, might have done a couple things, who doesn't quite translate well all the time to every single situation. We've seen the EC3 paradox all over social media. You've seen it with people like, and Mills, stay with me here, people like Rusev, people like The Miz, people like...
Wait. I didn't see this coming. Wait, why are you doing this to me?
People like Otis. People like who else? Who else? You know other people who the EC3. Robert Roode.
No, because I clearly don't know what you're talking about anymore with the Miz and Rusev. Get on my face. All right, go ahead.
Robert Roode.
It offended me. I'm offended. Sorry.
The people listening know what I'm talking about. Robert Roode. All these people that are kind of they need to win titles and win all the time and have these long, drawn-out storylines that in a week I won't care about. Now, this week, this happened on Raw with someone named Tucker Knight, formerly of Heavy Machinery.
Can't believe he said The Miz. Oh, my God.
On Raw this week, he faced off against Ricochet and lost in under a minute before, in lieu of Retribution beating his ass and beating Ricochet's ass. Now, what I come online to see is a tweet from someone saying, wow, they had him turn heel on Otis, help him lose a briefcase, and he's losing to Ricochet in minutes. What are they doing? And I said, the right thing. They're doing the right thing. Tucker is not a main event prospect. He should not be treated as such. On a 3-hour show, he can't even take up 1 minute. That's fine. He should be a guy that's losing for a minute. Because you know what? Every show needs a jobber. Every show needs a R-Truth. Every show needs someone that's going to lose and make other people look better. What is wrong with Tucker Knight not having a huge marquee storyline? The Heavy Machinery breakup is not a big deal. A month ago, nobody cared about Heavy Machinery. Can we be clear on that, Mills? Am I clear?
I mean, you don't have to tell me no one gave a shit, because I definitely ain't give a shit.
No one cared about Heavy Machinery. Everyone cared about Otis. I'll say people cared about Otis. But no one cared about them as a team. I think even when Otis won the briefcase, people were just like, well, Tucker, better go work at Walmart tomorrow. I even said myself, he needs to just go ahead and sell all this shit on StockX. And now he deserves more? Did you see what he looked like on Raw?
All right, so I saw the same tweet, and did you see my response to that tweet? Like, I think I made a response to it when it was actually tweeted like a couple... yesterday during Raw or something. Okay. So I'll actually read my tweet verbatim, and let's see if I can tweet if I still have good grammar. I said, all right, you got to stop acting like they did something to Tucker. He was the B guy in the tag team that barely had tag matches over the last 10 months. He's starting over. This is part of the process. If he's truly talented or has something to offer, he'll find his way some way. And I truly do believe that. Despite my thing for Tucker, because he was paired with Otis and then also took too long to turn on Otis, in my opinion. He turned on Otis. The storyline was that, listen, Otis left him in the projects. Otis had money. Otis had women. Otis had meats. And Tucker was just a guy who was there for moral support, and then he eventually turned on him. Let's also compound the fact they're on completely different rosters. So it's not like they can sort of follow up on that story. This was a decision that was made to split up them from the entire group. And this was not necessarily made to build up this Otis versus Tucker story, but to kind of establish Otis as his own independent being and stuff like that. He's talented. Don't get me wrong. He can move in the ring. He's not bad.
He can do a great moonsault.
Not bad.
He can do a great moonsault. But does that mean he needs to be beating Ricochet?
I just think in terms of, yes, I mean, is there an idea of like, okay, can we do a story with him? Can we build something? Can we do it? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like he's starting over. You really don't have any sort of you don't have much of a reference in terms of things that he's done outside of the heavy machinery stuff. You don't have a lot of things. You're now building a new character. This is something that they would do on NXT, but because he's on the main roster, they have to do it there. And it's not a solution of, well, let's send him back to NXT and repackage him. That's not how that works if you're on the main roster, to be honest with you. They repackage him on the main roster. He's going to have to figure out how to sort of navigate these things. This problem isn't native just to Tucker. We're now seeing, who I'm going to laugh at, Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, they also were split up and now kind of have to figure out how to swim on their own. And they're doing it week by week. They're not sure how they're doing it yet. Even Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, you know what I'm saying? Split up once again from their respective things. Have to figure out week by week, how are they going to do this? How are we going to build up from this? Where do we go with this thing? It's all about sinking and swimming in WWE. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to continue. You have to be able to do that. We cannot hold Tucker to the standard that we hold a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, listen.
Let's stop saying it like people were comparing Tucker to Rusev and people can comparing him to damn Bray Wyatt. Rusev. I'm like, I'm not even. This isn't even the same. And I'm with you here, Mills. Like Rusev had a way different type of thing here with Rusev. Like Rusev was positioned to be a great guy and never quite got there. Whether it be booking, whether it be angles, whether it be John Cena, who I think,
definitely booking. Definitely booking.
Well, no, you could say definitely John Cena because that's the one person that he could never. I mean, it was always Cena or Reigns that kind of kept him from getting there. But the thing is,
he was built to lose to John Cena, in my opinion.
He was built to lose to him and Roman Reigns, and that's really could they have made him a world heavyweight championship contender? Absolutely, but booking wise, they had him at that level. And if Tucker is at the level where he needs to lose to Ricochet to get Ricochet over, because Ricochet needs wins, I'm choosing Ricochet any day of the week because we know Ricochet. He's not restarting. Yeah. That's just the long and short of it. It's not booking here. It's just let the guy go. Let him sink or swim, and we'll see. I'm
just thinking this is just legitimately a feeling out process. That was an audition. That was kind of like figuring out he has to really start over, and I think he's established that with his that weak ass silk press that he had in his hair, that suit and everything like that. He's legitimately trying to figure it out on the fly. Let him figure it out. Don't even give him. Let's revisit. I don't know if we have to revisit a Tucker conversation in a year, but I would say look at him today and look at him a year from now and see if anything has evolved or different, and then make your decision on that. But Tucker's starting over.
He'll be fine,
and he should.
He'll be.
And don't put him with the Miz. Miz has revitalized too many careers over the last decade.
Right.
We don't need to have him with the Miz.
All right, that's it. When we come back on the A Show, we will be talking about.
How dare you put the Miz in the EC3 paradox? I'm very disappointed. Oh my god.
Oh, he's firmly in the EC3 paradox, and I'll talk about it all after this break.
Here now, do it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn!
That was actually pretty good. And what frustrates me a little bit is I asked you to introduce me that way for how long? And you... What is this? What?
Sami Zayn, ladies and gentlemen.
Is this why you were late?
Hello.
You look terrible. You look terrible.
I'm sorry. I was late.
Are you mocking my Canadian accent right now?
I was late.
I don't even but I actually do enjoy Fairtrade coffee.
Not that Starbucks. So sorry, I'm late. I'm glad to be here. By the way, I need my water bottle. I'm like, my really expensive water bottle, like not that plastic stuff.
How dare you kind of accurately make fun of me like this?
Let me tell you about my water bottle.
Where did you get that championship?
You are a fraudulent champion. I am the undisputed intercontinental.
Oh, Mills, did you see that segment on Talking Smack?
I did see that segment. I did.
How spectacular was that?
I did. It was funny. I think she could have hammed it up a little bit more, but she could have used a little bit more hands and stuff like that. He's very big on like hands and stuff. Like he's low key like he reminds me of like Robin Williams, but with a mixture of like, God, who can I say? Some sort of rebellious character. I don't know. Someone who's very politically driven. But yeah, he's very Robin Williams with his hands.
That's a wild comparison, bro. That's a very wild comparison. Welcome back to the A Show with myself and Meals. Of course, I'm Justin. We are going to hop into this week's shows, the weekly shows, SmackDown and Raw. Yeah.
Let me handle SmackDown because SmackDown is my show. SmackDown has always been my show. I don't know if you realize this. Okay. I've always been the blue show, So we have to start off with, probably the most prominent news in all of SmackDown. We got the continuation, as the Oos turns. I don't know what to say. Like, boy, Oos is in the hood. Like, too Oos serious, something along those lines. But we got the continuation of the story between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, and it's taken quite a turn. And it seems like Jey Uso has finally fallen in line, as we saw with the main event of SmackDown. What were your thoughts on kind of Jey Uso? What are your thoughts of them taking this direction with the story? Because I'm in approval of it. A lot of times WWE tends to follow the same pattern and continues the same pattern, and then someone just fades away into obscurity, but then they revisit later. They decided we're changing this entire character with the story. What do you feel about it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought that, again, they add little wrinkles into this story. And so often, and I know you can agree with me here, so often does this shit never make sense to a point where we actually sometimes have to create mental gymnastics to make this shit make sense. But with this, it makes total sense here that Roman, through his gaslighting, through his, brutality, through his, his psychoticness and his manipulation would break Jey Uso. And that's what we've seen here is Jey Uso break. And, I know a lot of people I didn't see a lot of people upset about it, but I think a lot of people were saying like, wow, like that's a very, I wouldn't say adult-like, but almost very like story comic book-like in the way that happened. And I was like, yeah, that's really kind of what it's like. It's a type of storytelling and a twist that I've never really seen from the writers. WWE, in WWE's period. And I thought the way it was set up was perfect. I thought it made sense. I thought, again, kudos to Daniel Bryan, and I guess we'll get to him in a second, for kind of giving it the storyline the lift that it needed, because he said it in beginning of the night. This is a new Jey Uso. He was foreshadowing this from the beginning.
I think just in general, with the whole Daniel Bryan, and we can definitely get what this means about Roman Reigns and what it means for Daniel Bryan, but I think overall what it means for Jey Uso, when you look at kind of the story and how it was told, this is kind of like the emotional outburst that Jey Uso had been hinting about actually for weeks, especially considering as Roman. And I think it's just been bottled up. It's been prevented. It's been this thing. We've seen it for 2 weeks where he's going off on Roman with a chair, or he's going off with things. And then you have this situation where he kind of unwillingly, I think he still hates Roman. I mean, as much as he's on his side, I think he still hates what Roman Reigns has necessarily done to him. And he fall in line, but he's taking that out and taking out all that emotion and everything he wanted to take out on Roman Reigns, on Daniel Bryan. This is really some like next level story and shit that they never really do.
It's layered. And if they want to go this far, I don't think Jey will be the guy to do it. But if Jey wants to be the guy that costs Roman the title, it's right there, the story is right there. So let's see it play out. I like having, Roman needs a goon. There's no doubt about it. He needs a goon.
He got a hitter.
Yeah, he needs that right now because that legitimizes who he is. Like, he's the final boss of the show. And I think Daniel Bryan very soon is going to see what that entails.
Listen, Daniel Bryan's doing his, his late fall, early Rumble work, which he's done for quite some years. He did it with AJ, I think, in 2018. I think he did it. No, he did it with AJ 2018 through 19. He did it with The Fiend through 2018, 2019. And now it looks like the same result for Roman Reigns, where he's just like, just call me fall sweeps, because that's what I do.
Yeah, when it's November, it's Daniel Bryan time. He's automatically
it's Daniel Bryan. From November through January, that's me. That's all me. So it's 100% right on time for the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns feud, and I'm all for it. It's just gonna make for some awesome matches. The next little bit of news that we have to talk about on the show, I mean, Sasha Banks, of course, new SmackDown Women's Champion. She finally gets to hold up the belt. She finally gets something to complement all of her amazing Sasha Nova fits.
Sasha Nova.
But she, it's not completely out the woods yet. She has her first title defense next week. Bayley has officially challenged Sasha Banks for a rematch for the SmackDown Women's Championship this week on SmackDown. So it's going to be this Friday on SmackDown. I'm not sure. I mean, I get why it's happening so soon, but let me ask you this, is there potential for a title change in this future? They've been building up Sasha Banks, someone who can win the title but can't keep the title.
Right.
Do you think it kind of continues here this Friday?
I don't think that this feud is over. I think they're going to try and do something that extends this feud, but not have Sasha drop the title so close to Survivor Series. Because if you have her drop it, then you have her running against Asuka again, which we've seen a lot. But the thing is crazy is that we've seen Sasha Asuka a lot too. So their hands are really tied, right? So it's like you could do a non-finish and just have it be that way, and then Survivor Series goes away, and then Bayley and Sasha goes to TLC, right? If they want to do another match. It's just the way that they get there. I'm very confident in SmackDown's writing. So I can't call how they'll get there, but I do know that there will not be a finish to this match. There just can't be.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think we'll get a long match, but I don't think we'll get a finish. It seems like something chicanery is going on. I wouldn't, if I'm Sasha Hive, I wouldn't be worried. If I'm Bayley Hive, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried if I were either of them. It doesn't seem like the feud is actually going to end.
No, it'll end at Rumble or something.
Yeah, but I think just in general, I think there's a lot of conversation around like, do we actually keep Sasha Banks as champion and have her have a worthwhile run or not? And we'll see. I have thoughts on it. I'm not going to say them now.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it right now.
People are going to ask you to talk about it because I agree with you.
Let's wait till next week.
All right. Okay. Well,
let's wait until after the title match.
If you want to hear what Meals' opinion is, which I completely agree, and I will back him on this, wait till next week and let us know if you want to hear it. Hit us up on Twitter at @TheHShowRNC.
100%. Let's talk about another segment. I know this isn't on the rundown, but I kind of want to talk about it just briefly. The humanizing of Lars Sullivan. Ooh. The freak.
Freak man.
Sit him down. He's in a polo. He's talking about, these kids make fun of me, and like they called me a freak, but you know what? No one's laughing anymore. No one's laughing.
Really
no one's doing it.
You are really mean. I just caught on to the lisp. You are very mean. That is ridiculous. As far as the humanizing of Lars Sullivan,
do you feel like it's necessary? Do we need to? Do we need to do that? He's a monster, but I guess we need to know more about him.
I wish I could really care about anything they do with him. I think they're trying to get you to get, because the thing about Lars Sullivan is this: he ain't winning no title, right?
Yeah, I think they know what we think, obviously,
right,
of Lars Sullivan. However, I think they're trying by any means possible to change the way to make us ignore the way we think about Lars Sullivan.
He's gonna need a very long feud with a baby face on that show. And I hate to say it'll probably be E, because he's not gonna run into Roman. That's just that Roman's not touching this kid.
I think they really want to give his character context. So, because legitimately the only thing you know is he's a monster and he smashes. So in that sort of frame of mind, you kind of look at him as just that person, but you have all your own personal thoughts about him. They're trying to rejigger the way you think about him personally through these segments. I'm not sure if they would continue it, but if they were smart, they would. But we'll see how this goes. If I had to pick it,
if I don't hate the segment, I just think that I really think that Big E is in his immediate future.
I think KO is in the future, is in something.
Okay.
I think KO.
He needs a long feud, right? Because we got a heel champion, so he's not tapped into that.
Yeah, but you're right. Speaking of KO, he earned his way into Survivor Series this week. Also, Jey Uso earned his way into Survivor Series this week, but also someone else who earned their way into Survivor Series, Bianca Belair, 2-0, Friday Night SmackDown. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Bianca Belair? She's looking good.
Yeah. She beat Billie Kay
and Natalia to qualify for this match.
Hey, man, let me just say right now. Again, I think, remember, I said I want them to just show me. They've been doing that in spades, so good job. 2 weeks in a row. Great job. Yeah, I got to give Natalia props for how she made Bianca look. I thought that Natalia and Bianca had pretty good chemistry. I'm not going to lie. Peyton was whatever. Or Billy, I'm sorry, Billy. I thought Billy was good too, though.
Billy wrestles like how I think Kristen Wiig from Saturday Night Live wrestles.
Oh my
god! That's legitimately what I think, but she just needs, she needs a little bit more oomph in the things that she does. That's all I think.
Yeah, I thought Bianca again. They're positioning her to be a big star in the same way that and it's funny that they seem to be pulling through with Bianca in the way that we saw Peyton say, they said Peyton was going to get that push, and Peyton don't look like she's getting any type of push right now. So again,
Peyton out here chilling with what's her face.
Yeah. So Bianca's looking great. She's rolling on SmackDown. I got no worries right now.
All right. And of course you have to end SmackDown with probably the most shocking reveal, or not shocking, depending on who you are. Buddy Murphy and Aaliyah together. They're just, they after a very tense segment on SmackDown featuring Seth Rollins, and then it also brought out Ray and Dominic. We saw Aaliyah and Buddy Murphy kiss in the ring, wrestling love angles. It's been a while since we got one. I was actually thinking most people on this roster is like, damn, do they even do these guys even like women? But we finally get that segment. How do you feel about it? How do you, this is a major part in this entire program.
Yeah,
are you feeling it?
I was honestly shocked at the amount of people that were really upset at this when I got on social media.
Because of the age difference.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not mortified or anything. Yes, it's a major age difference,
right?
But also they're actors.
Yeah, that too. And again, it's like this isn't an indictment of anything happening in real life. People, I saw someone say this is really odd to do especially when the show already has predators on there every week, and I was like, child predators. I was like, this isn't the same at all. So again, I get that, it's a taboo for this type of age difference, but whether it be man to woman or woman to man, this type of age difference is very normal in regular society. So thumb your nose up at it all you want on Twitter. If you go outside, I'm pretty sure I see it all the time. People doing that all the time. I'm not trying to be wild here, but it's it don't got nothing to do with Velveteen talking to, motherfucking 16-year-olds, right? Like that's not the same thing at all. Like that's not the same thing at all. Like this is fake, as you said, Mills. It has no bearing on what these two do outside of their personal lives. In fact, Aaliyah has a boyfriend. So again, like it's not the same. I thought. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say, if for people who feel weird about this, I want to believe that Jay-Z and Beyonce have legitimately close to the same age difference. If you're like, and they started dating around the same time.
Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, no one talks about it. But I didn't want it to be like, oh, let's think this point. But first, one, they're actors, and two, I think they're responsible.
Jay-Z is,
and they're actors.
Jay-Z's 50. Beyonce's what, like 37 now, 38?
She's like 30. She just turned 39.
Okay,
so 50. It's about an 11-year age difference, which I think is close to the same between Buddy Murphy and Aaliyah.
Okay, there you go. Your relationship's goals. There you go. That's the same. There you go. Again, it was a focal point in the storyline. I'm still not sure if there's going to be a swerve in any type of way, because that's like the only way this ends is with Seth going away for a long time, or with Leah swerving them, and maybe Seth doesn't go away. So I don't really know where this ends. Again, this is a really long storyline. I'm shocked that they actually are able to fit this long ass storyline into a 2-hour show. I remain surprised at this.
I think, well, first of all, yes, they managed to do. Well, first of all, a lot of people aren't on the show. That's a major thing. Second of all, I think it's more so because Rey Mysterio is not fully recovered yet that this is all happening. I'm not sure if this would still be happening if Rey Mysterio was active, but I could be wrong.
It's weird he doesn't wrestle like ever.
He's injured. He tore his tricep.
Oh shit, he did. He's still not recovered from the damn, yo.
Yeah, I think we're still waiting, or they're building up to a pay-per-view or something along those lines. If he's recovered now, they're waiting for a pay-per-view. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Want to get into Raw?
Yeah, let's get into Raw.
I know you didn't like this show. I know you didn't like it.
No, I sure didn't.
I know you didn't like it at all. So, unpopular opinion here.
I sent you the text at 11.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, yo.
I was eating. I was like, literally had just finished eating. I was like, I'm going to watch Raw. So, like, I watched one more episode of King of the Hill before I turned it on.
King of the Hill?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. What
season are you on?
I'm bouncing to, like, I have a list of top episodes, so I'm bouncing around.
Oh my God. That's one of my favorite shows, right?
You know what? What's funny about King of the Hill, and it's funny about why the reason I'm watching it again is that, there's been this like really weird obsession with people wanting to know what cartoon characters would vote for. So people have been saying, well, who would Batman vote for? Who would blah, blah, blah. So someone was like, there was this big argument last weekend, like, who would Hank Hill vote for? And I was just like, does it fucking matter? Also, what? And it was like, he would vote Trump in 2016, but after he heard what Trump said about propane, he'd vote for Biden this year. And I was like, well, know, is Hank Hill a woke king? And I was just like, you know what? In a lot of ways, like Hank does actually grow up in a lot of ways throughout the series and kind of change his views, right? Like a lot of his views change as the series goes on. And I'm seeing that now. So I've been rewatching King of the Hill just to see, because I didn't catch it after like season 3. I think I fell off of it. So I'm seeing a lot of things I didn't see before. But that's
season 4 through season 7 you're going to enjoy. I can't vouch for anything after that, but yeah.
Okay. How many seasons?
It's like 13.
Oh, okay.
Like 14.
Okay. Well, that's
you don't have to get into those later ones.
I watched one more season or one more episode of that, and I turned on Raw, and I think maybe it's because I'm not watching Raw in real time. I'm watching it with DVR, and I only really catch up to the show, and I catch up to my DVR, and that's at around 9:30. That the show doesn't really feel as long for me because, of course, I'm watching it with the benefit of being behind the whole time. But I thought that it was a regular ass show. I didn't think it was like worst Raw of the year. We saw the worst Raw of the year already.
It wasn't. It definitely wasn't worst Raw of the year. But these things aren't getting any better to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's like after a week by week sort of thing of like, and then the thing is you're investing 3 hours into the show.
Right. So
that's another major part of it, where SmackDown, you can just tune out. It's SmackDown. I can fall asleep and wake up and it's over.
Yeah.
Raw. I doze off. It's still on. Like, and it's so long. And the fact that I think on a week by week basis, it's just kind of, they've changed the pieces, but they haven't changed the way they do the show. And as much as like, there's still kind of the major thing going on, like the Randy and stuff. And I think they also want to get this Fiend stuff over as well, which maybe we can talk about a little bit later. But it's just still overall the same show. It hits the same beats and it's not really entertaining. It doesn't feel like a live show, to be honest with you.
I will say I did not tune in for that main event. That main event did not spark any type of interest in me. And according to the ratings that just came out. According to the ratings that just came out, that, you know, looked at the third hour, the third hour, it had a record low of 1.4 million. So a lot of people felt the same way.
You know, the main event of the show wasn't bad, but the main event of the show would have been better if they did the thing that they should have done in the opening of the show.
Yeah, no.
Can we talk about the opening of the show?
Yes, we can talk about it. We can talk about the opening of the show. One more thing before we start. I thought the Raw was solid because it had really good matches. I thought the matches were really well done. I thought the tag match and the triple threat were really good. But the opening of the show was also very good as well, with Randy Orton coming out and calling himself the Legend, which I really like a lot. I think is a really good evolution of Randy Orton's character. But also had Drew McIntyre come out, Claymore Randy Orton, and then have The Miz and John Morrison come out to try and cash in on the briefcase in a moment that I thought was really cool. And that they didn't do enough with Otis, which is why I thought that, you know, Otis's...
He's a dumbass.
Yeah, Otis's briefcase run was really weird because there were no teased cash-ins. There were like zero. And
people murdered each other in lakes and all over the arena. And there are these two giants who were throwing shit at each other. And he did nothing.
Right. It was really weird.
He did nothing.
I'm glad to see Miz being proactive. And
yes.
Hold on. Relax. I'm glad to see it being proactive, but how did you feel about the opening segment and and again, like this kind of goes into the Survivor Series team. And I guess we'll kind of break this down all together here with AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, and Sheamus, because from there you have a big push to get Drew as the fifth man on the Survivor Series team, which I think is a pretty compelling storyline that I think a couple people are probably slept on.
I'll say this first I'll talk about the opening of Raw. Drew's a hater. He just is. I don't know why, as if The Miz wouldn't be an easier opponent to face. But the one thing that I like about it is it kind of it does this thing that it hasn't done in a while on Raw. It set up a title scene. It set up multiple players going for one championship as opposed to the last couple of, I don't even want to say months, years, where it's been one guy and then rotating to another guy and then rotating to another guy. It's set up a title scene. So at least you have that to kind of look forward to. As far as the campaign for Drew, it would, listen, Raw's team is ridiculous. Ain't no way SmackDown team. Raw's team is ridiculous if it adds Drew McIntyre to it.
There ain't no way they lose this match. There's no way they lose the match if they have Drew McIntyre on it.
Yeah, I agree. But I wouldn't. The thing is, like, you kind of got to have him on it because I'm not keeping Drew off of Survivor Series.
No, he's got to be on it. I think the key here, I really liked the Sheamus conversation. Again, it's pretty good stuff about this episode of Raw. I thought the Sheamus and Drew conversation, it sets up seeds of them going at each other as well. Because I could see that
came in the third hour. No one watched, by the way.
Yeah, it did. It really did. And I had to actually, it was right before the PS4 beep hit, and I turned the show off because I was not watching that triple threat. But again, it also continued on with Braun Strowman actually asking Drew McIntyre to be on the team on Raw Talk as well. So I like the way that they're building seeds to the storyline because we know that Randy's not losing this title. It's looking very clear to me that Roman and Randy will happen at Survivor Series, which, just get ready for that. But I really did enjoy that. But I mean, this triple threat between Braun and Keith and Sheamus, it was equal parts comedic and equal parts really, really fire. I thought that segment, that all around that segment was the best part of Raw to me.
I thought that segment was good. It didn't make sense to me, but I thought it was the match was good, but then it kind of went on a little bit long for me. There was like so much things that I'm like very like hot cold on regarding that entire encounter.
I thought the New Day didn't make Hurt Business thing was way longer and it didn't need to be.
I agree with that. I'll say about the triple threat thing, it didn't make sense how what's his face? Adam Pearce couldn't find an opponent for Braun, as if he doesn't just fucking book the show. It didn't make sense for me why they would want Braun on the team, but also want to demolish Braun. It didn't make sense of them beating each other up afterwards, but still wanting to be on the same team and all of them trying to vie to be team leaders on this.
That's the comedic part of the whole thing, was that like it was very cartoonish, because it was almost like I don't know if you play like fighting game storylines where like the characters fight each other and then at the end they're friends again. That's exactly what that shit was like to me.
This just seemed like a bunch of men bumping each other around a lot. Just what would Biggie say? A bunch of man meats. I don't know what he says. Something. A lot of that. I thought the match went a little bit longer, especially for a big man match, a Haas match.
Good spots though. Good spots in the match.
Yeah, it went fine. It was okay. It was okay. And Braun wins, which was another thing why I didn't really like the match, because it went really long, knowing that I knew Braun would win.
Well, at least it didn't pin our guy, so it's fine. They're still setting up. They're still setting up Keith for good things.
That's still true.
The women's division on Raw is hurting. No Asuka on the show this week, but we get a hefty dose, and I don't, no pun intended there, of Nia Jax.
Let's see if Asuka tweeted.
She has not tweeted.
Oh no.
People are concerned.
I'm concerned. I'm 100% concerned.
She'll probably be fine. I mean, if it's family stuff, then you know that is what it is. You know.
Let me see if she liked anything. No. All right. If she's not back by next week Raw, then
something's up.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, something's up.
Yeah.
Again, we get a lot of Nia Jax on this show. I guess because of no Asuka, and we get a lot of Shayna Baszler, and we get a lot of Lana.
Should have been more Shayna than Nia.
Very weird that we don't get a lot of Shayna, but I mean, I still don't hate the two Mean Girl tag team of these two, but
yeah,
again, it's the fingerprints of a old Paul Heyman are all over this.
It wasn't bad. I liked the fact that they had a title match, women's tag team title match on Raw, because they're like, oh, these women are undefeated on Raw. They face like two people. And then like half of them aren't, I think all of them aren't even on Raw anymore. But they're like, oh, we're undefeated. Let's have this match. They have the match despite all being tag partners for Survivor Series. They have the match. Shayna Baszler does her thing, you know, because she's Shayna Baszler and that's Dana Brooke. But she does her thing. They introduce a whole Lana thing. My hot take, they're building up this Lana thing to something, and I think it's Charlotte Flair.
Yep. It's clear.
I think it's Charlotte Flair. You don't do something for 7 weeks in a row, and you're not building towards something, especially if you do the same thing over and over.
Lana,
and especially since
Lana will not be on that team in 2 weeks. She's not going to be on that team.
I think Charlotte. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a thing. I just feel like, I don't know. Maybe she should just come back and beat up Nia Jax. But the thing is, Nia Jax is a tag team champion, so Charlotte would have to find a partner.
What do you mean a partner?
Nia Jax is a tag team champion.
I know, but I mean, like, as far as Charlotte replacing Lana, I think Lana is going to be replaced on the 5-on-5.
Oh.
She's going to come back.
Okay.
She's going to come back and be on the 5-on-5 and replace Lana. I really do think they're going to beat Lana. They're either going to do an injury angle for Lana because they're going to take it to the next level next week, or Charlotte's just going to pop up as Survivor Series and just take her spot.
That would be hilarious because Lana's the reason why Becky won the Royal Rumble, because she was injured from getting beat up, I think, by Nia Jax.
Yep. That's exactly why she came out and interrupted her.
Yeah. Long-term storytelling.
Yeah. It's hurt. I don't got much to say about the women's division on that show, but yeah, it's hurting.
That New Day Hurt Business.
Very long segment between the New Day and the Hurt Business. I thought the jokes to me didn't always land. It was really weird. I don't think 10-minute promos are good on any show, regardless of who it is. And I don't think it worked here either. I thought the match was really, really great though. It was one of my favorite matches of the week. I like these guys working together. I thought Shelton was on point for everything. And once again, like seeing Cedric Alexander work with Xavier and Kofi is like a dream come true, and we finally got to see that.
Yeah, 100%. Might have to give flowers to Shelton Benjamin. Legitimately, still working at a very great level. Despite, I don't say despite his age, but like he's been wrestling nonstop for the past 20 years. I'm sure there's a little bit of wear and tear. Obviously, he's not as quick or as nimble as he was before, but he's still pretty damn good when he wants to be.
Yeah. And of course, in New Day fashion, they lose a TV match.
Of course, yeah. Gotta.
They are the kings of losing TV matches in lieu of a bigger pay-per-view match. So I would expect that we're going to be seeing the New Day versus the Hurt Business tag team title feud on Raw in the coming weeks, either leading out of or leading up to Survivor Series.
Shit, probably next week.
I'm pretty sure that will happen. I would love for them to push that out a little bit further, but I could definitely see that happening as well. My last note on Raw is this Fiend and Orton business. I can't believe they're doing this, Mills. I really can't believe they're going to do this again.
I'm still not sold on the Fiend. And this entire, I get the idea of the Alexa and Fiend thing. And I realized the Alexa thing last week, it wasn't her teeth. I think it's her lipstick or something along those lines that just thrown me off. So, sorry to her teeth. However, it's still not hitting for me. They want to make it work so much, but it's not hitting for me yet. And it's been a while. It just doesn't hit. At
least not anymore.
It's just the Orton thing is going to make it work. But I'm not the Fiend. Anytime the Fiend's on television, which he is in various segments in one way or another, whether it's through Alexa, whether it's through the Firefly Funhouse, whether it's in the main event, I'm not really paying attention.
Yeah, and again, the larger problem comes from we know what happens when the bell rings, And
you just kind of know what happens in general. Yeah. It's just he's not a very action now type of person. It's a very long, drawn out experience with the Fiend. There's mind games for weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks, and then he hits you. You know what I'm saying? And then you have a match of questionable nature. So it's kind of like a similar formula with him. I'm not really a fan of the Fiend. I think they're trying, but it's not working.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, I don't know.
If Drew doesn't get the title anytime soon and they move on to Fiend, then you risk having the Fiend lose yet another match.
They should have Drew versus Fiend at Survivor Series.
Well, at TLC.
No, Drew versus Fiend at Survivor Series to determine who's going to face Randy at TLC.
But they're only doing brand versus brand stuff. They'll probably just do it on Raw. That'll pop a rating at least.
That would be true. But I think they should. I don't think they're just doing. Are they just doing brand versus brand stuff? But I don't know. I just think that would help. I think that would add some sort of context to this nature, and especially because I think Drew and Fiend are both major stars, and they both. It'll be a believable match.
Yeah, I want to see him fight. I think Drew, just the way he's been built up, that would be a cool thing to see. I just think a slow, plodding Fiend Randy Orton match is just not what we want, not what the streets want to see right now. Even if Randy's working at a level that he's never worked at in decades, this just isn't it, right now.
And not drawing it out so damn long. At least to say, okay, this is definitive. He's got this thing. If we're taking Drew out of the title picture for now, let's move him out the title picture. Or if we're doing Fiend out the title picture, let's move him out. Or if you want to do a triple threat, you still at least have that option as well.
I honestly thought they were going to do Fiend and Retribution, and they moved away from it. Like, I didn't.
Retribution is just they want Asuka now. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. Which makes me not concerned about Asuka. I just think she probably just needed a week off. You know,
Mia Yim wants Asuka.
Take the damn masks off already. Take them off.
No, you know they aren't.
Fucking terrible. That's Raw.
I feel bad for them. Yeah.
That's Raw for us this week. I don't know if it gets better next week. Did they announce anything for next week on Raw? No?
Nah, I would have seen it. No.
All right, well, we don't know. So, till next
That's the problem with them. That's the difference between Raw and SmackDown, baby.
Oh, my God. All right, we'll know by Friday. And speaking of which, thank you all for listening to the A Show this week. We hope that whatever happens in the next, for me, about 5 hours, for Meals, about 2, that, you know, whatever happens, that, you know, we got to stick together here. The fight has only started on either end, and we have to keep fighting. So stay safe out there, wherever you are. Thank you guys for listening. Please wear a mask. Please wash your hands. Please follow us at the A Show RNC on Twitter. Next week, we'll be talking about Survivor Series at length. I believe it'll be our next show prediction. I feel like we have one of these every single damn week. But yeah.
Nah, it's not. Survivor Series, we still got
in 2 weeks?
We still got some time.
Oh, shit. No, it's the week before. It's not to go home next week. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Yeah, we still got some time. We still got some time.
All right, so we still have time.
We should talk about old Survivor Series stuff. Ooh.
That'd be cool. I mean, I want to watch some old Survivor Series stuff, so I think what we should do is we should take a week off. Sorry this offends, and we should talk about old Survivor Series matches. Let's go back in time, if you will.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and let us know what you guys want to talk about. It's old Survivor Series matches. All right. Let us know. The A Show RNC on Twitter. Follow us. Yes, it's funny.
Sir. So, until next week, for Meals, I'm Justin. Once again, thank you for listening to The A Show.